Everyone, I'm Helen Elizabeth, and I'm so glad to be talking to you today about the new Illustrating Bible by DaySpring. And so today I'm just going to kind of talk to you about the Bible itself, why I like it, and then if you read my blog, I'm going to be talking a little bit just about how I do quiet times and how to utilize your Bible. So the first thing that I loved about this Bible is just how the outside looked. You can see how pretty that is Illustrating Bible, and it's a beautiful rose gold color. I love the gold print and everything. They really paid attention to detail, which I love. One thing that I'm kind of planning to do with my kids one day is I want to have these Illustrating Bibles for my kids so that each one of them, maybe when they graduate high school or some special event, I can give them this Bible after I've gone through it and I've drawn all in it. I've left them little notes and I've talked to them through it, and I think it'd be such a special gift to give them. So here's the basic layout of the Bible. You can kind of see how small the print is, but really it's not as small as it looks right here. It's actually fairly easy to read and super easy to underline and write in the margins, but that's kind of what I wanted to talk about, is how great the margins are. You can see how I wrote all in this. I want to try to push this up so you can see. I just decided to try to be artistic. I'm not an artistic person, so if you're a person that's saying I can't do this because I'm not artsy, I'm not artsy, so that's okay. What I did was I just put in facts about Isaiah all in here. So I wrote different facts, wrote different things. I put the date that I started reading it so that I can mark the day I finished. I looked up, let's see, the four major themes, and I kind of illustrated those in different colors so they know when I underline something, that's what it refers to. And then understanding God was one of the main themes, and so I kind of wrote down all the different themes that went along with that. So I just looked that up, and I think that's a great thing to do before you even start reading a book. It's just to learn a lot about who wrote it, what time period was it, why should I care about this, what was going on at the time. So that's kind of what I did here, and that's what I was kind of marking for my kids some days, for them to know these are the things that we're looking for to learn, right? This is what we're wanting to understand about God. And so if you see these colors, then you're going to know that one of these things is being talked about. What I like about putting at the very beginning kind of your code is that you can always refer back to that. So if you stop and then come back to reading, you're not going to get confused. So when I decided I was going to make this video, one of the things that I wanted to do was kind of help you think of ideas to help you study the Bible better. And so something that I like to do is go, before I start reading a chapter, like I said a little bit earlier, is really go and research. So that's what I did here. And throughout the whole book of Isaiah, I tried to write down, okay, these chapters are about this. These chapters are about judgment, or about Israel, or about whatever. Fill in the blank. But what that helps me do is look for those things. But then the next thing is to go through a chapter. Like what I did was I went through my chapter, and then I underlined anything important, and then I went back and I read everything that I underlined, made sure it was the correct code. Like I said earlier, I color-coded everything. So I went through, looked at all my color coding, and then I thought, okay, are there any truths that I can put here in the margins? Because what you may have trouble with at the beginning of having an Illustrating Bible is thinking, well, what do I put in the margins? What do I put in all this space they've given me? And so what I think is really cool to do is to go back through and find, what is the one thing that stands out to you in this? Or what couple of things stand out to you and you think, wow, that is such a good word, or I needed that really spoke to me, or wow, that's something that I was convicted of. Whatever it is, write that one truth. And maybe it's not just a verse that's right there, but maybe it's an actual truth or principle that God's spoken to you. So for me, I looked in this right-hand corner, and again, I'm not an artist person, I'm not artistic. But anyways, if you can see that, basically, I highlighted a couple of things and then I said, all right, what are just some truths that I can put here? Right? No matter what you've done, you are a new creation. You can see all these different things that I put. And, what I thought about was that I want, like I told you probably a million times, that I want to give this to my kids someday. And so I kept thinking, when I was 16 years old, or when I was however old they are when they get this, what was I thinking? Or what did I need to hear? And so that's what I kind of talked about here. I just thought about, like in Isaiah right now, it's talking about how Israel just turned their back on God and how basically they're not being that good of a version of themselves, right? And I can relate to that. And so what I wanted to do then was tell my kids, okay, you may get to that point in your life. That might happen. But all hope isn't lost. And that's something you could remember every time that you go back and read it. My next piece of advice, especially for quiet times or if we're just doing an illustrating Bible, is take your time. I think so often we rush through, just time with God. Like we think, okay, well, I need to read 3 chapters, or especially if you're doing like a Bible in a year type plan. A lot of times I catch myself thinking, well, I don't have time to sit here and reflect on that. I got to just read. And that's really not the point. So I would say the next thing is about the illustrating Bible that I like is that it forces me to slow down. It forces me to say, okay, I'm going to read this. I'm going to take the time. I'm going to take the time to look at Isaiah, to write about Isaiah, to look at what are the different themes and things that I need to highlight, to then draw and say, okay, what truth do I need to be preaching to myself? What truth do I need to read? What truth do I need to remind myself of? And when we take the time to do that, whether or not we make it a beautiful drawing, we have all the colors, well, that's not the point. The point is that we took the time to allow ourselves to think and process. This illustrating Bible allowed me to do that. For the first time, I was able to just sit there, maybe not the first time, but in a really long time, I've been able to really just sit there and read and then process. Like I read my chapter and then I just drew and I processed what God told me and I thought about the truth and I let his words just flow out of my hand. And then I looked back and I thought, wow, that I feel like that really did just come from God and it's the truth that he wanted me to hear today. The last thing that I wanted to talk about with the illustrating Bible is a little pamphlet that comes with it. And I was about to throw it away, but then I started really reading through it and it's so useful. So it tells you about different types of products that they have to help you. And they also talk about how to use them. They have paints, tape, they have all kinds of stuff, which I'm really excited about. I really want to try that paint because that looks really cool. Okay, mine may never look like some of these, but that's not a reason to not do it, right? And if you're watching it and you're like, I am the most creative person in the world, then go you. Your Bible's going to be beautiful, and I can't wait to see it. But I believe that is about it. And so if you go and buy this Bible, I would love to see your pictures of what you do and ideas that you have because, I'm just getting into this. So thank you all so much for watching, and hopefully you'll try out this illustrating Bible. Bye, guys.